Welcome to a brand new podcast series called The Founder Roast, where the founders are happily coming to get roasted. And I'm very lucky to have Akshay from Leverage as my first roast. And the series is all about asking those tough questions which investors always wanted to but never could because they didn't have a platform, and now they do. So, welcome, Akshay. How are you?
No, awesome. In fact, Hetal, my relationship started with you roasting me when I was a much younger version of who I am right now. So it's kind of a good full circle, and look forward to being roasted, and look forward to paying it back a little when you join us for TGIS in 20 minutes from now. So looking forward to having you here.
You're making me start become defensive before I get attacked, yeah?
देखो फाउंडर का वो आदत है थोड़ा बहुत मतलब that's our cult. So you can't take that away from us.
Yeah. So that's the first question I want to ask you. I mean, Akshay, whether you look at your social media or you look at in a personal one-on-one, you have, right from the day one when we met, when you pitched me together, yeah, till today, you have retained that level of energy. You have retained that level of charisma, positivity, whatever you want to call it, right? And obviously, a lot has transpired between then and now, right? I mean, what's the secret? Boost पीते हो?
बूस्ट पीता तो थोड़ा पैसे ले लेता बूस्ट से बट आई whenever I hear that and I somehow hear that often, I don't know, that's the outside way of looking at it, but I can tell you how I feel looking at my life every single day. I feel that every single time, every 3 months, every 6 months, I feel that everything that we were doing up till here was like what we essentially we could have got here sooner.
Yeah.
There was this new insight that came through which tells us that okay, you could have looked at the business from a very different angle and been able to kind of grow, either scale up your revenue faster, either kind of create bottom line in a much more meaningful way, all of those things. So I think when you're building a business, and I can say this for at least Leverage, which is turning in different directions as quickly as it does, as it has, I think your learning is very, very fast. And when your learning is very, very fast, it continues to humble you. I think I am perennially in a zone of, यार ये मैंने मतलब क्या किया exactly? I have so much more to learn. I have so much more to kind of do. And अभी तक जो कर रहे थे सारा मतलब without, I'm going to be careful with my words. But अभी तक जो कर रहे थे मतलब पूरी बेवकूफ़ी थी. गेम तो अभी खेलना शुरू हुआ है. गेम तो अभी समझ में आया. I get that feeling every 6 months in life. But अभी तक मैं क्या कर रहा था? Yeah. And now my co-founders, my leadership team, they've also kind of started feeling like that. If you will see right now, this is not on the camera right now, but you will see all of these bifurcations we've been doing for different channels. And now we realized that okay यार अभी तक तो हम ऐसे क्यों खेल रहे थे, इस तरीके से खेलना चाहिए था. Why are we thinking of these guys as competition? We are a different component in the value chain, or we are thinking about the company we are building in a very different way, what we will look like say 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Investors don't look at us in that same lens, but we are able to because we are learning very fast, because we're trying to ensure that we can rediscover ourselves in a different avatar. So I think when all of those different myriad of things is happening, it maybe comes across that we are very excited. We have a lot of energy into how we think about tomorrow, and that is pretty much the case. We are also a company that really aspires to kind of do a lot. Build a very, very large, build a very, very profitable company in the longer run. We want to be one of this country's leading companies. We want to be up there with the top 30, 40, 50 companies of this country, be there in the Nifty list. Yeah. So that aspiration is there, and I think that drives us in reverse. And then we think about what are the fundamental blocks that we get there.
Aspiration, that's a big word, right? And when it comes to technology, right, you aspire to be state of the art, bring in the latest technology, and the flavor of the day is obviously AI, right? So what metric would you indicate as far as technology integration and leverage is concerned?
So there are a lot of things that we do when it comes to implementation of tech that really has an impact. I'm going to use that word, tech into impact. Be it in terms of, we have an app called Leverage Launchpad. You will see about 1,000 people outside you right now that you will address in the next few minutes. They use an app called Leverage Launchpad through which they're able to engage with students. Students are able to find us through a bunch of products, through our Study Abroad with Leverage Edu app, through Wings, through a bunch of other community plays that we have all across the web. And but I think the real way of measuring impact is your basic P&L, right? Is your CAC really going down because of tech-driven acquisition? Are you able to do more revenue in the same amount of people? Are you really able to increase the ARPU in a significant way because you have that knowledge with yourself that okay, if I do these 4 things, ARPU increases and my margin also increases in the same proportion. A lot of times, if you don't have that intel, you essentially will have a very inflated revenue, and then you will see कि bottom line create नहीं हो रहा. That happens to a lot of people in our industry. We have a bunch of peers who have very inflated revenues with very poor bottom lines. But if you are essentially a tech company, you have that understanding that okay, I need to have the right balance. This is what I need tech for. This is what I don't need tech for. So I think we don't think of ourselves as a the ecosystem is kind enough to think of us as a tech company, but I don't think we really say that okay, we have to do tech for just being a tech company. We have to have tech.
It's more as an enabler rather than tech for tech's sake.
Strategy / operational finance intervene at the right places to ensure that we can build a company that has the right economics, that has the right EBITDA profile, and it also essentially ticks up all of those high NPS, high customer retention, high amount of referrals, and a very happy team at the end of the day. So, but I'll kind of just end that by saying, just this year we'll more than double our revenue, and the number of people that we have in the company, I think, is more or less, I think, reduced by 40-50 people. So I think that's a big statement.
Definitely.
About tech at our end.
To be able to increase sales without adding people, I think it's the nirvana moment for startups because then the whole uptick happens, right? Because then it's and you can scale up technology much faster than you could ever scale up with people.
And it also forces you to think differently.
Yeah.
Because I think when you start throwing people at a problem and then you just stop thinking that अच्छा ये constrained resources के अंदर ये चीज़ कैसे हो सकती है?
Yeah.
It's only when you force yourself to say that अरे यार, be it a tech intervention, be it a marketing intervention, be it a value prop intervention on how I can kind of think differently. I think that's when the magic really happens. So we are lucky to be building. I would say we are all very, very fortunate to be building in a time and space in this world where we can bring in tech at so many places and let those things do their magic in terms of how the economics look.
You mentioned about Launchpad. Launchpad is all for the users, and in a B2C business, users is all.
Launchpad is for the team.
It's for the team. Okay. But when it comes to users, how do you collate the feedback? How important is user feedback for you? What have you done about it? If you would like to cite any glaring quotes which you got from your users, which kind of made the day for you.
No, so quotes तो बहुत सारी तरीके की आती हैं, negative, positive दोनों. And सब पे, let me say, we look at it objectively, we look at it subjectively. Subjectively, I would say very obsessively. And then it also has a play in terms of how we think about building the business. Objectively, we measure NPS in a very strong way. We spoke about leverage launchpad. Every single student journey is divided into 36 different touch points. At those touch points, they have to give an NPS to the coach that they're working with. Every coach has an NPS. So if you will look at that board right behind you, you essentially have students are also engaging and taking the coach to the task, right? They're ensuring that they know that अच्छा leverage के अंदर this person will be able to do well basis the NPS that I'm giving. So coaches also know that my North metric is not just the number of students I help or the revenue I kind of create for the company. My North metric is also going to be how well do I treat, how well my team treats this bunch of customers. So I think very objectively we have made sure that it is a part of the culture, rather be it in terms of how we appreciate people at TGIS, be it in terms of how the incentives are driven, be it in terms of how these people are also promoted, they're given ESOP, all of that. Subjectively, we have a culture where the student success team, we have a team of about 25-30 people of who are caricatured into this division called student success that still reports into me. And believe you me, Hetal, every single time a single student escalation comes, the entire company is like, ये क्यों हुआ, कैसे हुआ? Now there have been a lot of scenarios out there in the ecosystem where I have seen, without naming any, where not just founders but managements, VPs, directors, nobody gave a damn that customer feedback is getting worse and worse and worse. I take a lot of pride in the fact that we are not that company. Every single negative customer feedback that comes in, for example, and this could be anything, right? I'll give you an example. You wanted me to give a glorifying example. Let me give you a absolutely shitty example. We had somebody who took help from Leverage Edu plus Fly Finance plus Fly Homes, all three of our components. And all-rounder. So heavy ARPU hitting candidate for us, heavy margin candidate for us. And she had an issue after reaching there 2 weeks later that मेरे घर के सामने कूड़ा पड़ा हुआ है, तुम कूड़ा नहीं हटवा रहे हो. उसने किसी को एस्केलेट किया, वो एस्केलेट होके AM से M पे गया, M से हमारे बिजनेस हेड पे गया, फ्लाई होम्स पे, वी विल सी इन अ बिट. एंड उसने बोला करवा रहा हूँ मैडम, मतलब That's what our attitude is कि हमारे अंदर हो ना हो मतलब we should make sure that the student is happy. And वो नहीं हो पाया होगा essentially solve 3-4 दिनों के अंदर. The student wrote a very nasty long LinkedIn thing to me and then on my email as well. And we took it very very seriously. We essentially had 2 people from our UK team intervene and we made sure कि वो कूड़ा हट जाए. हम कूड़ा हटवा रहे हैं.
तो अभी भी कराते हो?
हाँ हम मतलब हम सब कुछ करवाते हैं. तो if you will हाँ सब कुछ करवाते हैं right. So the idea is that how can because we also now again if I have to kind of marry this something very subjective and extraordinary that we did, you have to marry this with the fact that we objectively believe that we will build a great company in terms of culture, in terms of DNA, but also in terms of a very healthy EBITDA company only if we have a high amount of referrals. आज की डेट में हमारा रेफरल्स इज अबाउट 21%. वी वांट दैट नंबर टू बी 50% प्लस वन डे. तो 50% प्लस तभी होगा जब हमारे करंट स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे एलुमनाई, हमारे जो लोग जो लास्ट गए हैं करीब 2-4-6 महीने पहले हु एसेंशियली गिव अस द मोस्ट नंबर ऑफ रेफरल्स, that cohort is very very happy. So what can we kind of really do to make sure that they're happy and they kind of talk amongst each other and say that okay boss, you know, leverage is there with me. They don't just kind of leave me at the altar gate. And if I have to kind of take the final, sorry I'm extending my answer, but I think basis user feedback, we have been able to ensure that this company became a very comprehensive platform. I don't think मेरे को सपना है एक दिन मैंने बोला कि platform बनाएंगे. And the company that you put money and the company that we are today are like two different beasts, right? We just realized that, hey, you know what, students are facing a problem in Forex, let's start doing Forex. Today we do over $1 million in Forex every single day, by the way. Over $1 million in Forex every single day. That happened just because of customer feedback. We're doing loans. About $75-80 million worth of loans should happen this calendar year, again because of customer feedback. Accommodation because of customer feedback. We've now started something called Leverage Careers, which is still in a very early pilot play, where we're helping students with internships when they land into a foreign country, any of the destinations that we serve for the first 6 months. These are all while they're studying. These are all takeaways from just keeping your ear very very close to the ground and saying that how can I make my customer happy. And by doing these services, it's not just margin negative revenue that flows to the bottom line for me. It's also in some sense for my core business I'm getting referrals, I'm making happy customers, and which in turn is a spiral effect which will ensure that the talent which comes to work with me also sees that okay, this is a company that really takes care of every stakeholder that works with them. So it kind of interacts with each other.
You mentioned culture a couple of times. How would you define culture at Leverage?
It's a very tricky question. We think of culture as cult. Wow. We think that we are pretty much a cult, and we really care very deeply about people that spend 6 months plus with us. We also realize that we're in an industry where there's a talent shortage. So we have a lot of people who come in who might not think that this is a great place to be at. And that is okay because Leverage will also be a very different company every single year. Just like I'm a different founder with every 6 months, which I spoke about right at the beginning. Leverage is also becoming a very different company every single year. So at our stage of evolution, somebody might not be a good fit. Somebody might be at a place where, hey, you know what, I want to work Monday to Friday, I want to work 6 to 8 hours, and I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that you should work only a certain number of hours. But I know that Leverage in its current avatar, where it is, where it wants to get to, customized to our specific need / our specific drive, we will only have a certain set of people who will be very successful with us. And that person will have to be like on, like 24/7 on. Like even on Sunday they have to be on. We are 6 days working, but boss, we expect you to pick up our call on Sunday as well. And I might be trolled and roasted and everything on that, but I'm totally fine. I'm saying that Leverage is not for everybody today. So once we are able to identify those set of people, we make sure that they're family. We make sure that their careers grow faster than anywhere else. Naya series और मैं पहला guest हूँ, तो let me kind of share this. So we had 2 people at a just about to get managerial kind of role, who left for greener pastures because they were getting 50% more salary. And then both of them have kind of now coming back and they're saying that boss, matlab, I don't feel the same vibe for very objective reasons. They're saying that I don't have a quote unquote culture where somebody is helping me achieve my goals. I don't have a quote unquote dashboard.
It's not the company goal, it's the individual goal which is being...
My individual goals also, how I could drive my team, how somebody actually took care of how I'm mentoring my people so that I could become a better manager, the visibility I had in terms of dashboards, the fact that somebody on Saturday was really taking interest. So when you came, I was there on the floor. I was on the floor for the last couple of hours. And kind of really thinking about a couple of those fundamental levers that will help us drive the next 30-45 days. This is a very interesting time in our business. So people go out there and बोलते हैं हाँ मेरी salary तो 12 लाख से 15 लाख हो गई, 16 लाख हो गई, बट यार वो मतलब किसी ने मेरे को छोड़ दिया, बोला नंबर कर लो. Yeah, that is not what a business is about. There are so many things that come together to make that number happen, and then make that number happen sustainably. So I think we take a lot of pride, and we believe that we're building the company very differently, and hopefully that moat will help us be there, be on the nifty list, build a very very large company one day in India.
The examples you shared, it's not just cult as a word. I think you shared good, relevant examples which indicate, what does cult in leverage mean. Coming to market, right? I mean, expansion has been a instrumental factor in your growth ever since I met you, right? I mean, I don't remember any meeting of ours where you didn't talk on growth, you didn't talk on doing something different, going out of the way, disproving the disbelievers, as I would say, right?
आपकी इंग्लिश बहुत अच्छी है, मैं तो समझना पड़ता है.
So where do you go from here?
Growth is life, said Dhirubhai Ambani. We're all Dhirubhai Ambani disciples in some sense. I think we are at a phase in a journey where we also dissect the data in as many ways as possible. What you will see all around this war room of sorts is a lot of slicing and dicing of data being done to ensure that at some places in the business we don't need to kind of really grow, but we need to kind of just go deeper. There are new channels being added. So if you will see my social media, I think my social media 70% talks about the new centers we're opening right now. But I think that's only about 10-15% of what is happening at Leverage. The remaining 70-80% focus today is on how can we go deeper on existing markets. How can we ensure that we can focus on specific products. How can we focus on enhancing our value props with these existing partners. So we're at a place where we realize that a large part of the next set of growth is going to come from how we look at the business in a different way, not so much from growth. That said, we realize that we still have to build the fundamental blocks. I'm using that word too much, but we still have to use the fundamental blocks so that when this is largely set in place, we can take this mix and put it on the next set of new channels, etc. Replicate that to this new channel strategy, this new region strategy. So today you have seen we have kind of expanded onto US as a destination region over the last 1.5 years after Series C. Offline as a channel is expanding very fast for us. We are about 82-83% of our business is now India as a source market, which used to be 98% till a year back. So Nepal has become really big. Nigeria has become really big. Nigeria get joining now. We are doing more of Ghana, Tanzania, etc. Nepal get joining. We are launching now Bangladesh. We were talking about just before I started speaking to you. I was with a colleague who's looking at Sri Lanka. We're exclusively working with a couple of universities for Sri Lanka, which kind of makes it a very, very different ballgame for us. We've done a bit of Vietnam. We're thinking about how we can launch a very specific program focused on healthcare with the 2 universities, one in Canada, one in Australia, for people in just 2 states in India, which gives them a guaranteed PR at the end of 15 months. So there's a lot of cross-pollination across different things, but growth is not just like a simple region into channel. It's basically a lot of things happening all across the board.
Going on. When you mentioned about Fly Home and Fly Finance, while the outsider might have looked at it as strategic, you beautifully explained how it was tactical because you utilize the customer feedback. So when it comes to geo expansion, again, is it more tactical? Is it that you're getting inputs from different regions, or is it more strategic in nature where you're trying to knit together an approach which could make it beneficial in the long run while it might be tedious in the short run?
So Hetal, let me kind of just start by saying that हम अपने आप को इतना credit देते नहीं हैं generally, मतलब हमारी company का culture ये भी है.
कभी-कभी दे देना चाहिए.
नहीं
हमारी not you but the team deserves it.
वो TGIS में push up करके हो जाता है. But or whatever your choice of display of strength is. So I'll give you the geo expansion story how it started, right? We started Nigeria. So a lot of people ask us, why would you go to Nigeria? There's so much happening in Southeast Asia. And Nigeria purely started because we had a bunch of UK universities tell us that why are you not doing Nigeria? Because Nigeria is the only market where higher education is, it's completely broken. And you have a large set of people who want to go out and study abroad right now. So we just kind of lapped onto an opportunity that insight came from me and a bunch of others being in the UK at the right point of time and listening out to these university chancellors, etc., who had the foresight to say that, okay, Nigeria is going to become a really strong market in the next couple of years, why don't we start focusing there? And then I think in a very quick time frame, we were able to set up a team of about 30 plus people in Lagos and Abu Jani. And it's become almost 10% plus of our existing student recruitment business. So I think, like I said, a lot of these opportunities come from just being very granularly involved with the business and having the foresight and having, I would say, we really have to give credit to ourselves, being bold enough to take some of these calls that the word in general is not able to see.
Yeah. Referring to your social media post and the fact that you travel a lot and you and you work during crazy hours, right? Doesn't anyone say, boss, jeete kab ho?
Jeetega?
Jeete kab ho?
Jeete kab ho? I think in this moment.
Okay.
And before this, and when we were kind of just reviewing some operating matrices, and after this at TGIS. So in some sense, I think for people, once they find, and I hope I'm speaking for a large majority of my colleagues as well, I think once they find something that they truly love doing, and I'm sure this is oft repeated advice, but I think there's a great assimilation into your work and life.
Yeah.
That said, I think even if you have to divide a line into work and personal, I think you're also more happy in your personal life if you're happy with your work life.
Of course, that's true.
And work life fucked up hogi, forgive my choice of words.
Yeah.
So then you won't essentially be able to be very gaga in your personal life and say that अरे यार मतलब मैंने 6 घंटे काम किया but मुझे बड़ा मजा आ रहा है गार्डनिंग करने में मतलब तो फिर भाई तू गार्डनिंग कर मतलब that's your passion area and you say that कि मैं दिल्ली को फॉरेस्ट कवर बढ़ाऊंगा 1% से 5% पे so I think it's very important for not just the young today, but I think people of all ages, people of all backgrounds to really find it one thing that they're truly very, very passionate about and then kind of just focus on working towards that.
Right.
So, and then when you do that, then आप हर moment में जी रहे हो.
Yeah.
And then every day is a lot of fun. Like these 60 days, July and August, is a very, very interesting time for us because we are just heading into one of the largest intakes. And now there are so many programs, so many countries, people going from multiple countries into multiple countries. I don't think I enjoy any period as much as I enjoy this period because it's just so much happening.
Yeah.
Like you will see us every day, we'll be ending the day at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like we'll start very early and we are just kind of picking up new insights and that happened and this happened and all of this competitive practice essentially came into the play. So I think that fire is basically life.
Yeah. So rather than looking for an activity for happiness, you look for the happiness in the activity.
बाकी सब कुछ अपने आप हो जाता है. I think that's taken care of.
Yeah. My last question is around beliefs, right? The whole world questioning you every now and then, right? How do you hold on to your beliefs and go with that gusto every morning?
I would again flip the question back and say that it's belief across multiple stakeholders.
Yeah.
Belief of, let me start with, say for example, you, right?
Yeah.
Like belief of people like you who have trusted the business in a very different, nascent avatar. Minus the VC funds, I think you're the only individual who has backed us twice in a row.
I like that.
आपके जो दोस्त 2-3 थे वो मतलब उस समय उस एग्जिट ले रहे थे उस राउंड में और आप डबल डाउन कर रहे थे मतलब और भर के पैसा डाल रहे थे. So I think that belief helps. That okay, we are on the right path and people have a lot of belief in us. And we are very, very lucky to, I think, work with a bunch of investors, work with a bunch of advisors and people who are on the board who have a lot of belief in us.
Yeah.
Then I think belief of people I get to work with. I think I'm very, very lucky that I get to work with a set of people that I work with. My co-founders, I'm very lucky to work with people like Digvijay and Aman. Yeah. I don't want to take the credit of like everything that Fly is doing. That Rachit is building it very, very obsessively, 18 hours. He's the last one to leave office every single night. We had Manish and Sandeep came in. I've learned so much from both of them.